Batman The Dark Knight number 20, written by Greg Hurwitz, art by Simon Kudransky. So last issue, Mad Hatter kind of killed a lot of people, and all the bodies just floated into the bay, and it's a really dark issue. This issue picks up with Gordon talking to Batman and basically them being like, look, we both agree this will eventually end, right? Like, we have to agree, like, this is not just how Gotham is forever. And Batman's like, yeah, no, totally. Like, this is way worse than it usually is. So at that point, Gordon, he goes on TV and he tells everyone, like, look, we assure you we're doing everything we can, but what we have figured out is that this is all linked to Crazy Hats. So if anybody has bought anything Crazy Hats related, toss it. Get rid of it. Help people who have bought it as well. It's all mind control stuff. And we see Mad Hatter's watching this on TV and he's super pissed off because that wasn't part of the plan. It wasn't supposed to go that way. And so he's like, okay, fair enough. We'll only work with what we have here and now. But I'm going to go get my new Alice. So we see Batman is maneuvering through the underground of Gotham. And he says, oh, there's tons of tunnels here that are just completely out of use. No one has ever come down here, so it's a mishmashing, and many different decades are all down here, so it's hard to track it down. But he eventually comes up through a vent which is right up on the same hill where he tracked the van to that one time, and he's like, hey, can we focus on this area specifically, Alfred? And Alfred's like, yeah, but everything's thrown up with like a government firewall. And Batman's like, well, get around it and also send me my jet. So then we see Natalia. I feel like that's her name. I'm so bad at her name, but regardless, Natalia is playing the piano, and then she sees a bright light outside her window. She assumes it's Batman there to pick her up, and as she goes over the window, it explodes and she's blown back. And then we see Bruce is down in the cave and he's looking over Damian's stuff, and he's like, I can't stop thinking about him, which also leads me to think about how I might lose her. And Alfred's like, yeah, well, she's brought you back into the light, and you can't have both. You can't have darkness and light. They literally destroy each other. And we see Natalia has been kidnapped by Mad Hatter, and he's just like, hey, I mean, your hair's a bit short, but we can grow that out. You're going to be a great Alice. So then we go back to Wayne Manor, and Bruce sees his parents, and they're like, hey, Bruce, we've been here all along, and we just wanted to tell you, you could be so much more. Like, honestly, there's no way you're ever gonna move past us. And they start turning into, like, nightmare creatures that look like his villains all combined together. And then he wakes up, turns out it was a dream, and the bat signal's up in the sky, and Alfred's like, oh, are you going out for the bat signal? And he's like, no, I mean, yes, I'm going to the bat signal, but first, I'm going to stop by Natalia's place, and I'm going to tell her I will stop being Batman one day. This isn't a permanent thing. I will eventually stop being Batman, and we can have a life together. And Alfred's like, you would do that for her? And he's like, no, I'm doing it for me. So we see Mad Hatter basically dragging Natalia through Wonderland, saying, oh, and when we get here, it's going to be this, and when we go here, it's going to be that, right? Doesn't that sound great? And she scratches him across the face and says, no, I'm never going to be your Alice. Get that through your skull. And he says, fair enough. That means you're useless to me. And he gets Tweedledee and Tweedledum start drowning her. And then he says, wait, hold on. She actually has one more use. Who is Batman? We know you know. And Batman, at that point, has just arrived in Natalia's apartment, which had the wall blown out. And they're like, oh, hey, Commissioner Gordon didn't even call you yet. What are you doing here? And he just flies off. And they're like, all right, that's weird. And he tells Alfred, like, she's in trouble. I put a GPS tracker on her. Turn it on, for God's sakes. So then we see Natalia's getting the crap beaten out of her. But she was born tough. She was in Ukraine. Like, she's like, no, I don't know what you're asking about. I don't know no Batman, but even then, you're going to have to do more than that. And he's just like, okay, well, how about a change of scenery? And they drag her onto a helicopter and say, all right, last chance, tell me who Batman is. And she's blood all down her face, just says, no, never. And in her monologue, she's saying, please hurry, Bruce, save me, Batman. And we see that she is thrown out of the helicopter as Bruce finally gets a lock on her GPS. And all of a sudden, we see through a window the bat signal goes from on to off. And it is revealed that Natalia was not saved in time, and she fell right onto the bat signal and died. The end. Boy, I love a nice cheery book like that. I mean, didn't I say this? Didn't I say this like 4 issues ago, 3 issues ago? Like, well, she's dead. The moment she found out about the secret identity, like, it had to happen. I guess I didn't expect it to happen this soon, though. I kind of expected it to be like the last issue where, like, Mad Hatter was just kind of grasping at straws to make it work, and he ended up killing her almost accidentally. But I think this works as well. It really does. I think this whole story has done a lot to really up the profile of Mad Hatter. Makes him much more menacing of a villain. I do think that having her die just as soon as Bruce is like, no, I will stop being Batman if it means I can be happy with her. Like, okay, that seems a bit on the nose. This whole thing seems a bit like melodrama, but it's well told and very well drawn. I very much like Kudransky's art. So overall, I'll give this one like a flat 7. I think the only problem I really had with it is I don't feel like we were close enough with Natalia for it to, and that might not be her name. That's especially so the fact I don't even know if that's her name, and it's driving me insane. It is Natalia. Cool. But the fact I was second guessing it, yeah, I didn't feel like we were close enough where this death is really going to land that hard. So, yeah, 7.